Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Now, I was basically given an interesting comment by one of our subscribers here in our community, and it was basically a question about, what happens after Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence Jr. fight. What happens next? What will we look for? What is the fight everyone would want to see? And I think it's clear. No matter who wins versus Mikey and Spence, I think the winner of that fight has to step up and fight Terence Bud Crawford. I think that would be the ultimate fight that everyone would love to see. I think the fact that Terence Crawford is naturally coming up from 140 pounds, and to be a welterweight, I think that would be an interesting fight with him and Mikey, because they can make that fight at 147 for the belts. And Terence Crawford is not as big as Errol Spence. And so that makes for a more intriguing fight. It'll be skill versus skill. If Errol Spence Jr. wins that fight, the fact that Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford has all this back and forth talk, and you have Errol Spence Jr. openly avoiding Terence Crawford, I think that'll be an interesting fight. I think the winner does have to fight Terence Crawford. I think that would be the fight that all the fans would want to see. I think that would be the fight that makes most sense, and it would also be a unification fight, because regardless of the winner of the Spence Garcia fight, they would be the IBF world champion. So then you would take that belt and you can unify with Terence Crawford. That is the big money fight. That fight will fill a stadium full of people anywhere in this country, because people would love to come out and see that fight. I think that would be great for boxing, but you have to get to the point where Errol Spence Jr. is willing to fight other fighters outside of his promotional banner. You already see that Mikey Garcia take on any challenge from anyone, and he's clearly taking on a big challenge from Errol Spence Jr. So I have no doubt that Mikey Garcia would take the fight and wouldn't hesitate. It's just that Errol Spence Jr., we have to make sure that he'd be willing to take that fight on the other side of the street, as he would call it. We have to be honest and unbiased in our assessment of these fights. I think that Terence Crawford and Mikey Garcia would be a chess match, and I think that Terence Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. would be more of a mismatch because of the boxing ability. I think that, Errol Spence Jr. would rely on his power and size once again. You have to understand that if Errol Spence Jr. moved up to 154 or 160 pounds, he'd lose a lot of his advantage, because his main advantage is his size and his power. The fact that he's so much bigger than everyone in the welterweight division, size and power wise, that wouldn't necessarily translate at 154 pounds, and damn sure not 160. At 160 pounds, Errol Spence Jr., I don't think he can compete with any top level fighter at 160. Any of it. I don't even think it's a competition. I think Canelo Alvarez stops him, Danny Jacobs stops him, Demetrius Andre stops him. I think it's just not even close. I think David Lemieux could even possibly stop him. I just don't rate Errol Spence Jr. as a top and pure level, skilled enough boxer to be able to compete at 160 pounds. I just don't. Yes, he's naturally built for the division. I just don't think that he can beat any of those top names. But at 154 pounds, I believe Errol Spence Jr. can compete and even win fights. I think he could possibly beat a Jarrett Hurd, but I also believe that Jarrett Hurd could beat him. You have to understand that these fights are much more close because he doesn't have an enormous, massive size anymore. But at welterweight division, fighting smaller guys, that's his main advantage. So that's why I think Terence Crawford and Mikey Garcia pose significant threats to Errol Spence Jr. It's not because, people say, oh, you don't like Errol Spence Jr. That's not at all. I like Errol Spence Jr. I think he's highly entertaining, but I'm being unbiased about what I see in the ring. That's what we're being unbiased about. And, and all these people that can't come with facts, these guys are fanboys, because what they're doing is they're pumping up a guy just because they like him. It's okay to like him. It's okay to root for him. But if you're going to be honest and unbiased, the truth hurts. And Errol Spence Jr. is not an elite level boxer. Let's be honest. I think Mikey Garcia and Terence Crawford would make the biggest and best matchup after that fight. But if that fight doesn't happen, as far as that goes, I think Errol Spence and Terence Crawford is the fight everyone wants to see. Once again, it's the IBFP Unbiased. As always, please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.